We're back covering Fortnite's ugliest skins, and I could just tell this video is gonna get flamed. I mean, I've never put out such a controversial video in my whole career. As always, your input is what lands a skin on this list, so if your main skin is on here, not my fault. Starting with Fabio Sparkle's main. Probably the weirdest skin in the last few seasons has been Fabio Sparkle's main, and it's not just because he's a literal unicorn with a six-pack, but a lot of the community think his entire set is a little odd. While there are a ton of people, including me, who love his set and the entire backstory that Epic gave him, a lot more people absolutely hate the way he looks. And if you didn't know, for his backstory, Epic made him some kind of cereal addict who was cursed to be a unicorn, and he became a slave to the cereal company. Pretty disturbing, Epic Games. And so that's why some people are put off by Fabio. Others, well, they just think he's a straight up ugly skin. Seems a little harsh, I mean, he just came out. But at least we can say that the whole community agrees on this next skin, and that is Trench Trawler. When this guy came to the item shop last year, it was a nice surprise, but most people didn't welcome Trench Trawler with open arms. Most just ignored him and moved on to the next skin, and because practically no one bought him, he was only in the item shop twice. I haven't seen him since. A lot of people say it's just because he's a straight up ugly skin, others think he's boring, but a skin who everyone thinks is horrifying is FLYTRAP. Okay, when we asked you guys for your opinion on the ugliest skins, I don't think I expected so many of you to reply with FLYTRAP. I mean, like, I get it, but wow, the community absolutely hates to look at this guy. And it turns out there's a good reason behind it. Rather than FLYTRAP just being a little ugly and people hating him for that, Epic actually made him a legendary rarity, which is why a lot of people think he's way too overpriced for, well, this. And yeah, if you could buy multiple Balenciaga skins for 1,800 V-Bucks, why the heck would you buy FLYTRAP for more than that? It's a good point. And the same goes for Brine. Now, luckily, Brine doesn't cost 2,000 V-Bucks as well, but the community disliked her design for a reason. With other sea skins like Fish Stick, he's kind of a meme, and in a lot of situations, he'd be considered ugly, but skins like him are loved by a lot of people because he's kind of cute and derpy, you know? When it comes to Brine, though, it looks like they took what made Fish Stick great and, well, got rid of it. So, a lot of the community thinks she's ugly, and that the whole fish vibe just doesn't work well with their skin. Despite that, though, there are way creepier ones out there like Grimbles. Okay, I think this guy was designed entirely just to weird people out, and it seems to be working. A lot of players hate Grimbles because it gives them the creep, so something is going wrong here. I mean, yeah, he's a garden gnome, he's gonna look like this, but all garden gnomes are kind of creepy in general, so it was inevitable, Epic Games. But now we move on to Beast Mode. And I mean, he's not as bad as everyone says he is. I will say everyone has an opinion on Beast Mode, and I mean, you either absolutely love him or you hate him. There are all kinds of reasons, like people not liking how big he is, or even smaller things like how he has a huge metal horn or some creepy variants. Whatever it is, there is too many reasons to count, which is why you guys put him on this list, and I understand it. But something that shocked us was Dapperman. I really wasn't expecting Dapperman to appear on this list, mostly because he doesn't even look that bad. But shockingly, it turns out that a lot of people think this guy is one of the ugliest Fortnite skins out there. I mean, yeah, it's kind of weird that they gave a candy cane legs and shoes, but you know, there it is. Something I'm a little less surprised about, though, is the fact that you guys chose Big Mouth. In Fortnitemares, we have some of the most creative and amazing looking skins that Fortnite has ever seen. I mean, it happens every year, and getting all these new skins is one of the best parts of Halloween. But that brings us to Big Mouth, who came out for Fortnitemares 2019. Now, if you're trying to be a scary Halloween skin, then Big Mouth is the perfect candidate. They're terrifying, and the design is actually really neat. But in the end, this is a Fortnite skin, and while Big Mouth is a cool and fresh look, most people just don't see themselves using a skin like this in their day-to-day life. And apparently, the same goes for Moisty Merman. Now, while Big Mouth was creepy in a good way, most people think that Moisty Merman is terrifying in a very, very bad way. Supposedly, he is someone wearing a swamp monster costume, but with how insane some Fortnite skins look nowadays, he's become pretty dated. For the community, not me think Merman is just ugly, plain, and simple. I mean, technically, you could argue that's the entire point. He's supposed to be ugly, but yeah, I guess that wouldn't stop him from being on this list. Like, literally, the title is called Ugliest Skins, okay? Don't hate me, guys. He might belong here, but it might not be a bad thing. At least it's not as creepy as CUTIEPIE. Okay, for a skin that's literally named CUTIEPIE, you'd expect something, you know, adorable. Well, the real CUTIEPIE skin is not cute in the slightest, and the community are absolutely terrified of her. At least Grimbles is kind of a meme skin. CUTIEPIE, however, people agree that nobody wants to wear, not even for a joke. But at least she wasn't in the battle pass, unlike Trog. Okay, so with every ugly skin on this list, almost all of them were optional item shop skins, and if you didn't like that they were ugly, you just pass on them, you know? But if you loved how ugly they were, you could just buy them. It's a pretty good system if you ask me. But when it comes to Trog, this is where the community has drawn a line. They put him on our list because he's not just ugly, but he was in the Season 7 Battle Pass. That's right, we had Lynx, the Ice King, and then Trog. I mean, you can see why the community thinks this guy looks a little stupid. He was even tier 71. I mean, why was he so high up? But we gotta move on because our next spot is Bendy. And you gotta admit, this guy is probably one of the derpiest Fortnite skins out there, and the community is certain of that. Obviously, Bendy is meant to be an inflatable tube man, and as we all know, those guys grab your attention in real life. But you probably don't want to run around as one of Fortnite, and I think that's why Bendy just missed the mark and came out as a little ugly. But he's actually not as bad as everyone says he is. I mean, if we're talking about someone truly ugly, then you just can't ignore Mincemeat. Okay, I don't think I've met a single person in the community so far who doesn't think that Mincemeat is one of the ugliest skins in Fortnite history. It came out during Fortnite Mares, and obviously he's meant to be creepy and weird, but it's a little too creepy. Everyone and their dog hates Mincemeat. I mean, sometimes with ugly skins, at least you can still love them, but no, this guy is despised by a huge chunk of the Fortnite community. As with every skin, there's always some people who actually use Mincemeat and love him. You might even be one of them, but the general consensus is that he's a little gross. But now we have to go back all the way to Chapter 1, Season 6 to talk about Nightshade. We got another ugly Battle Pass skin here, and that's the female version of Tomato Head. For some reason, Epic decided to take Tomato Head and make him look like 5 times worse, and then they threw Nightshade into the Battle Pass so that people had no choice if they wanted this skin or not. And I feel like that seems to be the reason a lot of people give for calling her ugly. But luckily, Epic actually fixed most of the issues with Nightshade a few years later when they released the Crustina skin. So I guess if we're talking about OG Chapter 1 skins, then we have to mention Leviathan. He was released in Chapter 1 Season 3 and still comes back to the item shop to this day. While Leviathan is actually loved by a lot of people, including myself, they all agreed that he's actually pretty ugly. As we said though, being ugly isn't always a bad thing, and that's some of the charm behind Leviathan's skin. And while some people don't agree with him being 2,000 V-Bucks, at the same time, he is pretty OG and released back when even the simplest skins were being made legendary. And so I guess the same goes for AIRHEAD. AIRHEAD falls into Fortnite's classic style. Unlike other ugly skins, he's actually something you could see yourself wearing in a match. But despite that, it doesn't make him any less ugly according to most people. The way that he's just a mix and match of colors and has a design that is all over the place is a deal breaker for the community, but he's still not considered as ugly as GNASH. Seems to be a pattern with you guys putting Fortnite Mare skins in this list. We talked about how there are some really great Halloween skins out there, but every year you also get the ones that people think are super ugly, and unfortunately GNASH falls into that category. Not just his default style, but also his weird looking curse variant. I mean, this guy's head is huge here, but I was more surprised to hear that you guys chose the Predator no mask version. So yeah, putting Predator into an ugliest skins list is shocking, but it turns out that the community loves the design of the regular skin, but thinks that the no mask version of Predator is super ugly. Which, like, I don't know, is kind of the point of Predator with him being a horror character and all, but the community still would rather have him hiding his face as usual. But I was even more surprised though to hear about Human Bill. With Bill, we have one of the more recent skins in Fortnite. It came out last season, and while we were all distracted with the Chimera, Human Bill dropped and looked more like a traditional alien. But the thing with aliens is, well, I mean, people think they're ugly, and that's why putting one in a suit and sunglasses apparently wasn't as cool as Fortnite intended. Now, there is a huge cult following for Human Bill though. I mean, people love this guy. I really don't think he's that ugly like other people say, but I can't say the same for BUN-BUN. So we've had creepy Fortnite Mare skins and horrific winter skins, but now you guys have placed an Easter outfit into this list, and yeah, unsurprisingly, it's BUN-BUN. The community considers him to be the ugliest Easter skin in the game right now. That's saying a lot considering Webster exists. The jokes aside, BUN-BUN is considered pretty adorable, but the colors are apparently all over the place. People just think he's ugly. That's all there is to it. But when it comes down to it, a huge amount of people agree that this next skin belongs in this list, and that is the Chimera skin. Well, you wouldn't think that a skin that you could customize in thousands of ways would be considered ugly because, I mean, you know, anyone can make it into something they like. But because the Chimera are aliens from another reality, they all have some really weird looking options to say the least. I mean, the fact that you have to choose between giving your alien a brain head or a mustache or beard, even making him look like handsome Squidward. It is no wonder why you guys consider the Chimera one of the ugliest skins in the game. But from aliens to witches, we have Baba Yaga. The thing with witches is that a lot of them are portrayed as hideous old ladies with warts and pointy noses. And Fortnite did the same thing with the Baby Yaga skin. And while she takes the whole witch look and absolutely kills it, the community still consider her ugly because that's kind of the point of the skin. But interestingly, you guys put a skin that isn't even out yet on this list, and that is the CUDDLE Scream Leader. With Fortnite Mares, we have another one right around the corner, and as always, Fortnite is planning on releasing some really unique looking skins. And so this time around, they're taking Frankenstein and putting the old Fortnite spin on it, and that's resulted in CUDDLE Scream Leader, a mix of Tomato Head and the Cuddle Team Leader. And it actually looks really awesome, and even you guys agree that this guy is really ugly, but in a cool way, okay? And the same can be said for GUILE. Now, he is probably one of Street Fighter's most beloved characters, but even in the original games, he's always looked a little bit ugly. Except when he was brought into Fortnite, it didn't translate that well. I mean, people agree that GUILE looks really ugly in Fortnite. There are even articles out there calling him unsettling and giving ways that Epic could fix the skin. Let me know in the comments. I gotta feel like this one was a hot take. But for our final ugly outfit, we have to finish with Sterling. When we asked you guys for your skins, there was one guy who kept coming up over and over again, and that was the man himself, Sterling. He was added into the item shop a few years ago and is the male version of Lux. But if you put him side by side, you can clearly see why people consider Sterling extremely ugly, especially next to his female counterpart. If you look at the actual ratings for Sterling done by the community, he's one of the lowest rated skins on this entire list at 1.5 stars out of 5. I mean, that's just insane. And so yeah, you guys rank the ugliest skins. We brought them to you. Do you agree with the list or not? Let me know down in the comments. It's been Tommy, and keep it here on Top 5 Gaming.